Good morning. This is obviously not breaking news to anybody, but there's definitely a shortage of existing homes out there. And I want to actually talk to mainly realtors in this little episode here about selling new construction homes. So if you're a realtor, I mean, one way you can set yourself apart from the others in your field would be knowing more about new construction homes than some of the others. And right now, with there being a shortage of existing homes that are out there, if you've got a buyer you're working with, and you know, I would say especially in our area, if we're talking like the 300 to 350 price point, I know just from talking with a few people lately that it's real. I mean, that's a lot of money to spend on a house, you know, and it's tough to find a house out there for that price point that doesn't need a lot of work. And so a lot of people naturally, even without you as the realtor telling them, are leaning towards new construction because they're out there looking at what's available. They're not happy with what's available, or, you know, what they see in their max price range still needs to have work done to the home. So the only other alternative is to build a new home. And I'll say the first thing, so myself as a new home salesperson and a real estate agent, if you have a buyer that you're working with, I would probably plant the seed, you know, depending on what price point they're looking at. You know, if you're going to be building a home these days, it's really hard to, you know, even if you pick up a lot for 30 and the build's it's really hard to be below 250. So, you know, kind of familiarize yourself with what a starting build point price point would be. That way, you know, if you're working with a buyer who's looking at 200,000 or less, well, building's probably not going to be an option. But if somebody's looking at, you know, 275 and up, building is definitely an option. So I would say plant the seed early on and just kind of say, hey, you know, you may or may not know that the market right now is kind of dry for existing homes. So let's maybe consider building a new home at some point. And you yourself as the realtor, maybe you've got a couple of builders that you've dealt with before or spoke with, couple of go-to builders that you could actually contact and register your buyer with. Because the one thing that does happen from time to time is I'll have somebody that'll come into the model or call or email, and they want to set up an appointment to get together and go over building, and then I'll find out after the first appointment that, you know, they were working with a real estate agent. And the thing that happens is I've already put in the time of working with them. I wasn't accounting for another realtor to be involved, and the realtor calls up and says, well, I was working with such and such client, and, you know, and I want to be involved in the process and earn a co-broke, which I definitely understand, because you may have been working with that buyer for months trying to find an existing home, and now it's kind of a sticky situation. So if you can, again, early and often plant the seed about building and contact the builders and register your buyer. That way, if the buyer comes in, I already know that last name. I know they're working with you, and it'll be a smooth transition right off of the bat. The other thing I would say is get familiarized with blueprints and with surveys. Those are kind of the two things that, you know, two of the basics. If you've got a client that they determine that they want to build a home, well, the first thing that you need to do with them is help them find a lot. And in order to find a lot and know that that lot's going to be buildable, you've got to do a little bit of research on it. So you find a property that you like. It's a nice property, it's in a subdivision, but how do you know what type of home is going to fit there and what type of home that you can build there? So you need to obtain the covenants and restrictions for the neighborhood to see what size home you can build there, what type of materials are needed for the exterior of the home, and that's going to somewhat determine what the price point for the build's going to be. So you'll know if the covenants and restrictions are way high, the build price is going to be high, and that may be out of your buyer's price range. Number two is you're going to need to obtain the survey for the lot. That's going to show you what the dimensions are. So if you've got a lot, you're looking at the survey, it's 60 feet wide, and the actual build pad is 40 feet wide. Well, there's not a lot of houses that are going to work for that. So if you can familiarize yourself with surveys, with blueprints, that's going to be huge, because you could be known as the new construction homes agent. So say you've got somebody out there who starts their search and they're pretty much leaning towards building right off the bat. Well, if you kind of set yourself apart as the agent that knows about new home building, they're going to contact you. You could almost build a brand of new construction. You know, you're the agent that knows about all new construction. You know the different builders, you know what they offer, you know what their standard features are. You know how to help your client find a lot and investigate the lot and make sure that it's buildable. You know how to help your client read a blueprint, so on and so forth. Walk them through a home that's under construction and point things out that they may have questions about. So it's definitely, and you know, as a realtor, you're showing buyers through houses, and you get to a certain point where you've seen everything in that price point, and what would the other alternative be to that? It would be building a new home. So if you are comfortable with and have some knowledge about building a home, you can be a great help to your buyer. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk on today, was if you're a realtor, familiarize yourself with blueprints, surveys, some of the builders in the area. That's one of the things that I love is when I'll have a realtor reach out to me, even if their buyer's not going to be working with me. Maybe they just have a general question about a spec home or a model home or a home that's under construction and for sale. So you can always contact me if you've got any type of questions. If you're a realtor and you've got a buyer and you want to know just what a general price per square foot is to build a 1,600 square foot ranch, or, what type of lot do I need to be looking for? I've got a client that wants to build a 2,000 square foot 2-story. So those are just some of the general questions. You can always reach out to me. I'm sure any builder would be happy to hear from you and answer any questions that you have. And start to kind of keep notes and, keep some blueprints. Look over the blueprints. If you got any questions with blueprints, same thing there. You can reach out and start to familiarize yourself with things, new construction, because I don't see things changing in the distant future. It seems like for the last year and a half, the market has been somewhat dry with existing homes, and there are a lot of people coming in to build with me that probably 2-3 years ago wouldn't have thought about building, but because of the fact that there's really nothing out there for them, they're almost forced into doing so. So you as their leader, you as the one who are taking them through this whole process, guide them through, show them the differences between the builders, the advantages to, building as opposed to buying something new. All right, starting to ramble a little bit. Thanks for your time. Again, if you've got any questions, anything pertaining to selling, new construction homes or real estate, reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Share this if you got a realtor friend that you think this might work for. And I really appreciate your time. Thanks. Have a great day. God bless.